وهم يخلقون ولا يملكون لأنفسهم ضررا ولا نفعا ولا يملكون موتا ولا حياة ولا نشورا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم اللعين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Tonight, these three ayat, the beginning of Surah Al-Furqan, Surah number 24, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these three ayat talks about the Tawheed. And that's everything in it's sent down by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is no example or nothing that it compares to it even. And He is the King of skies and earth, and nobody can, and He doesn't have children, and nobody is actually sharing the kingdom with Him. And it says, and those people who choose any Allah, any God besides Him or accept Him, they are in zarar, in loss. And Tawheed is the base of our religion. The Shaykh was saying, and last week also the speaker was talking about, and the main thing that, like Maulana said last night, that namaz is an obligation on us. But for a mu'minin, namaz is actually for taskin. Because when they go in the real salat and they talk to Allah, they get taskin qalb. And so it depends on the philosophy of how you look at it. It's not an obligation to put you in range or in difficulty. But from the beginning to the end, from the fact that you make wuzu to end that you finish it and you make dua, as one of the speakers was saying, is that when you finish the salat, why are you so in a hurry to run away? Even if you're busy, and if you have an exam, or if you have some appointments, is eventually you get to that exam by the will of Allah. If He doesn't will for you to get there, you won't get there. So why don't you stay a little longer on sajada and make some dua and wait for your reward? Because that's what you make. You raise your hand. And usually, in most cases, I tell my children, is ask Allah for big things. Because if you ask for ice cream, He says, here's a pint of it. Yeah. So salamati, ask for maghfurin, and ask for people to be successful, ask for Muslimin, ask for zuhur Agha Imam Zaman, ajalallah ta'ala farajahu sharif. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So I had the discussion with Maulana. Tomorrow I received the email from Imam organization that tomorrow is the shahadat, with the rabayat, is the shahadat of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhim as-salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And this sayyid is, besides the name of Mujtaba, is Karim al-Aimeh. And even though we basically do a lot for Imam Hussein, but we also need to believe that this brother of Imam Hussein is always Kareem, and he can return a lot of favors to us. So inshallah, with that reminder, we'll start tonight's meeting. And remember that we are also azadar for Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the love of the Holy Prophet and his holy family, please recite the second salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the reappearance of our awaited Savior, please recite the third salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There is a role for diplomats in the world where they go to other countries and they represent their own country. And they are there to make observations, advance the interests of their countries, but at the same time record things that are happening in the place where they are posted. So this Marsiya that I'm going to recite tonight is about a diplomat from the Roman Empire who is in the court of Yazid when the family of the Holy Prophet are taken to the court. And one of the things about diplomats is that they deal with diplomatic language and they do not interfere in the events that are taking place unless something so terrible and tragic is happening that they are forced to intervene. So the Marsiya, inshallah, will try to depict this. But Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. جب محفل یزید میں داخل حرم ہوئے غش آیا ہر قدم پہ ظلم و ستم ہوئے زینب پکاری حادثے ایسے بھی کم ہوئے سر گٹ گیا حسین کا سر ننگے ہم ہوئے کیوں آسمان گر نہیں پڑتا دہائی ہے زہرا کی بیٹی سامنے حاکم کے آئی ہے زہرا کی بیٹی سامنے حاکم کے آئی ہے موجود انجمن میں سفیر و کبیر ہے موجود انجمن میں صغیر و کبیر ہے حاکم کے گرد کرسیوں پر سب امیر ہے خاصان ذوالجلال ذلیل و حقیر ہے مشکل کشا کی خرد و کلا سب اسیر ہے کہہ دے کوئی علی سے یہ دارالسلام میں زینب کا داخلہ ہوا دربار عام میں زینب کا داخلہ ہوا دربار عام میں ہو کر اسیر دختر حاتم جو آئی تھی نانا نے میرے خود سے چادر اڑائی تھی پوشاک اماں نے نہیں اس کو پہنائی تھی سب کو یہ پاس تھا کہ سقی کی وہ جائی تھی امت کو ہائے پاسے رسول خدا نہیں زینب برہنہ سر ہے اور ان کو حیا نہیں زینب برہنہ سر ہے اور ان کو حیا نہیں دربار میں یزید کے ہر سو تھا ازدحام تھرا رہے تھے بیت کے مانند خاص و عام بیٹھا تھا تخت نحس پر وہ نطفہ حرام ایک ہاتھ میں تو شیشہ تھا ایک ہاتھ میں تھا جام بالائے تخت شغل تھا اس کو شراب کہا اور زیر سخت سر تھا غلب بو تراب کا اور زیر تخت سر تھا غلب بو تراب کا حاضر وہاں تھا ایک فرنگی بھی اس گھڑی رو کر کہا یزید سے اس نے کہ اے شقی تیرے معاملے سے لرزتا ہے میرا جی سر ہے طبق میں جس کا یہ مجرم ہے کیا کوئی ہاشا جو میں کہوں کہ یہ اہل قصور ہے زلفوں میں بوئے مشک ہے چہرے پر نور ہے زلفوں میں بوئے مشک ہے چہرے پر نور ہے تیرے معاملے سے میرا ہوش جاتا ہے، کیا حرف بد تجھے یہ کٹا سر سناتا ہے، جو چوبے بید اس کے لبوں پر لگاتا ہے، ارے کوئی بھی ہاتھ مردے کے سر پر اٹھاتا ہے، اس کا گناہ تو مجھے حیران کر گیا، باقی قصاص رہ گیا اور سر اتر گیا، باقی قصاص رہ گیا اور سر اتر گیا، مذہب پہ اس کی جنگ ہوئی یا کہ ملک پر، کیا منحرف تھا قبلہ سے لوٹا جو اس کا گھر، کیا تارک الصلاۃ تھا کاٹا جو اس کا سر، زینب سے ضبط ہو نہ سکا بولی پیٹ کر، حق پر ہوا ہے فرق باطل سے پوچھ لے، ارے سجدے میں سر کٹا ہے یہ قاتل سے پوچھ لے، سجدے میں سر کٹا ہے یہ قاتل سے پوچھ لے، یہ سن کے اور کانپے فرنگی کے دستوں پا، کہنے لگا یزید سے تو نے نہ کچھ کہا، پوچھے جو شاہ روم کروں اس سے عرض کیا، یہ کس کا سر ہے نام بتا اور نسب بتا، بولا شقی کے بند کرو شور و شین کو، کہہ دیجیو یزید نے مارا حسین کو، کہہ دیجیو یزید نے مارا حسین کو، اس نے کہا جو کل کا ہے سلطان وہ حسین، نانا کو جس کے آیا ہے قرآن وہ حسین، جس کے پدر کے سپا ہے احسان وہ حسین، ماں جس کی فاطمہ ہے میں قربان وہ حسین، جس پر نبی نے اپنے پسر کو فدا کیا، خالق نے جس کو بچہ آہو عطا کیا، خالق نے جس کو بچہ آہو عطا کیا، حاکم نے سر ہلایا کہ ہاں ہاں وہی حسین، منہ پیٹ کر پکارا فرنگی بشور و شین، غارت کرے شتاب تجھے رب مشرقین، سر کاٹ کر حسین کا کھویا علی کا چین، سر کاٹ کر حسین کا کھویا علی کا چین، اے اہل شام کیوں یہی مذہب تمہارا ہے، نانا کا کلمہ پڑھ کے نواسے کو مارا ہے، نانا کا کلمہ پڑھ کے نواسے کو مارا ہے، صلوات
محمد والے محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم۔ Please recite aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala.
شام کی عورتوں ایک وعدہ کرو، روز قبر سکینہ پہ آؤ گی تم، شام کی عورتوں ایک وعدہ کرو. روز قبر سکینہ پہ آؤ گی تم، شام کی اور تو ایک وعدہ کرو. جب تلک لوٹ کر میں نہ آؤں، آ کے شمع جلاؤ گی تم، شام کی اور تو ایک وعدہ کرو. روز قبر سکینہ پہ آؤ گی تم، شام کی اور تو ایک وعدہ کرو. صورت شاہدی بے کفن بھی میرے جیسی اسیر محن بھی، خالی کرتے میں مدفون غربت، مثل اصغر رہی بے کفن بھی. کیا کفن کی طرح روز چادر اس لحد پہ چڑھاؤ گی تم، شام کی اور تو ایک وعدہ کرو. ایک یثرب کی تھی شاہزادی، اس کا سقا تھا عباس غازی، مشق لے کر گیا سوئے دریا، اور قبضے میں کر لی ترائی. لوریوں میں یہ سچی کہانی، روز اس کو سناؤ گی تم، شام کی اور تو ایک وعدہ کرو. ہم نے زنداں سے پائی رہائی، اب بہن پاس ہوگی نہ بھائی. بات اتنی سی بس یاد رکھنا، میری بچی ہے غم کی ستائی. تم نے بازار میں تھا ستایا، اب نہ اس کو ستاؤ گی تم، شام کی اور تو ایک وعدہ کرو. جب کبھی قید خانے میں آنا، بے ردابی بیوں کو نہ لانا، تم کو اصغر بھی دے گا دعائیں، اس کی تنہا یا یوں منانا. چھوٹے چھوٹے سے بچوں کو لا کر پاس اس کے سلاؤ گی تم، شام کی اور تو ایک وعدہ کرو. خبر بے کس پہ آنسو بہانے، حال قید ستم کا سنانے، قافلہ کر بلا کو چلا ہے، اس کے بابا کا چہلم منانے. اتنا کہہ دو ہماری طرف سے، اس کا چہلم मनाओगी तुम शाम की औरतों एक वादा करो शामियों की बहू बेटियों से कह रही थी वो अकबर ये रो के ये अमानत है परदेसियों की कर रही हूँ तुम्हारे हवाले मुझसे एक बार बस इतना कह दो अपना वादा निभाओगी तुम शाम की औरतों एक वादा करो रोज कब्रे सकीना पे आओगी तुम शाम की औरतों एक वादा करो जब तलक लौट कर मैं ना आऊं आके शमा जलाओगी तुम शाम की औरतों एक वादा करो मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु
We have salawat. Today we have one of the kids, youth presenting a presentation. So
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, the people of Kufa, woe be upon you. Do you know which part of the messenger of Allah you have cut, and which vow you have broken, and whose blood you have shed, and which respected family you have brought to the public as captives, and whose sanctity you have violated? You have done that which could tear down the skies, open the earth, and make the mountains vanish. As far as the earth goes, and as deep as the skies go, your obvious deed has no like, no similarity, and no decency. Indeed, you have done the ugliest, the most grievous, and gruesome deed. These are the majestic words of Bibi Zainab alayhi salam when she confronted the people of Kufa who betrayed their Imam in Karbala. There is no doubt that Bibi Zainab alayhi salam is the shining sun in the history of Islam and of humanity. Her brother's name, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, in Karbala associate the idea of freedom, justice, humanity, virtue, fighting against despotism with the realization of sovereignty of Allah. Sayyidah Zainab was no stranger to death or oppression. We know her best in the crucial role she played during the events of Karbala in 61 AH. She witnessed the martyrdom of her own children, her nephews, companions, and most significantly, her beloved brothers, Hazrat Abbas and Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Sayyidah Zainab's strong upbringing, piety, and nobility ensured she was not weak in the face of adversity. Therefore, after the Imam Hussein was martyred, she became the pillar for the other women and children. She, therefore, serves an example of steadfastness, courage, humility, and strength for all of us. In her character, she reflected the best attributes of those who raised her. In sobriety and serenity, she was like her grandmother, Umm al-Mu'mineen, Hazrat Khadija. in chastity and modesty to her mother, Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, in eloquence to her father, Hazrat Ali alayhi salam, in forbearance and patience to her brother, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, and in bravery and tranquility of the heart to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Her face reflected her father's awe and her grandfather's reverence. In Medina, it was Zainab's practice to hold regular meetings for women in which she shared her knowledge and taught them the precepts of the Deen of Islam, as laid out in the Holy Quran. Her gatherings were well and regularly attended. She was able to impart the teachings with such clarity and elegance that she became known as Fasiha, skillfully fluent, and Baliga, intensely eloquent. The depth and certainty of her knowledge earned her the name given to her by her nephew, Imam Ali Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, of Alama Gaira Mu'allama, she who has knowledge without being taught. A part of the sermon Hazrat Zainab alayhi salam gave with utmost bravery in the gathering of Yazid, son of Muawiyah, in Syria, shook his gathering and still echoes through time and space. By Allah, you cannot remove us from the minds of people. You cannot fade our message. You will never reach our glory and can never wash the stain of this crime from your hands. Your decision will not be stable. Your period of ruling will be short, and your population will scatter. In that day, a voice will shout, indeed, may the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon the oppressors. Today, women have to learn much from her example and leadership qualities. Her public role in the Battle of Karbala has much to teach us, both Muslim men and women. The only way for women in general and Muslim women in particular could pay respect to her sacrifice is by being inspired by her life, to be courageous in the face of tyranny, patient in times of trouble, and submissive to the will of God. Hazrat Zainab alayhi salam, the role model for the righteous, will forever teach us all that. When we undergo countless trials in our life, we should see nothing but beauty in them. Some of us will face injustice in this world, will be hurt, but Bibi Zainab teaches all of us that none of you saw what I saw in Karbala. Look at a cup, half full, not empty. Look at what Allah has blessed you with. Salawat.
MashaAllah, very good presentation by this young lady. Another salawat for her to encourage her.
Muhammad Ali Muhammad salawat.
رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة. بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي العربي القرشي المكي المدني الهاشمي، صاحب قاب قوسين محبوب رب المشرقين والمغربين، جد الحسن والحسين النبي الحرمين والإمام القبلتين والرسول الثقلين، الذين سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتخبين المنتجبين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روح وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء واللعنة الدائمة الباقية على أعدائهم ومنكر فضائلهم وغاصب حقوقهم أجمعين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه تبارك وتعالى في محكم كتابه ومتقن خطابه: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. شهد الله أنه لا إله إلا هو والملائكة وأولو العلم قائما بالقسط لا إله إلا هو العزيز الحكيم. رسائل صلوات على محمد وعلى محمد. In honor of Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba alayhi salam, recite another salawat ala Muhammad. And to hasten the reappearance of our awaited Imam, recite a third loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Wa'ajil farajah. We mentioned this ayat of Holy Quran yesterday. Just to recap our discussion, this is ayat number 18 of Surah Al Imran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He bears witness to the fact that there is no God other than Him. And the angels also bear witness, and possessors of knowledge also bear witness. So witnesses are three: Allah, angels, and possessors of knowledge. قائما بالقسط. We mentioned yesterday that there's two interpretations of this. One referring to the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything in justice, and the other that those possessors of knowledge are the ones who are based on justice. Either way. Then he repeats, La ilaha illa huwa al-azizul hakim. There is no God other than Him, who is the possessor of all honor and of all wisdom. In other words, honor and wisdom come from Him. So we promised yesterday that we would refer to why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the angels. So first of all, we mentioned that in order to bear witness to something, you have to be there. If something happens when I'm not there, I can't bear witness to it. For example, I'm inside and something happens I have to be careful here because we call it a car park, but you guys call it a parking lot. So if something happens in the parking lot, then when I'm inside, I can't be a witness to that which has happened outside because I'm inside. Or conversely, if I'm outside and something happens inside, then I can't be a witness to that because I'm not there. So this means that those who are bearing witness are ones who are there from the beginning. So this is telling us that Allah is there obviously from the beginning. He's there before every beginning. The angels are there from the beginning, and ulul ilm are also there from the beginning. Otherwise they can't bear witness. If they're not there from the beginning, they can't bear witness. So why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the angels? Before we mention that, one more point that we want to mention, that where we left off yesterday, which was that why did we mention in Usuluddin Adl separately from Tawheed? This is what we mentioned yesterday. And we gave some reasons why Adl has been mentioned separately from Tawheed, to give it emphasis. One more reason. And then we come to why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refer to the angels. So we find that in the 3rd century after Hijrah, there are various schools of thought, of theology, which are developing in order to define what should be the beliefs of the Muslims. One of the schools of thought which develops is called the Ash'ari school of thought, named after the founder of this school of thought, Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. This school of thought says, or claims, or argues that Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. Therefore, He is responsible for everything that happens. Whatever anybody does, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is responsible. Because He already knows what I'm going to do. Therefore, He is responsible. Now, there's lots of problems with this, and you'll recall last year when I was here, the first Ashra, we mentioned a part of this argument as well. So I don't want to repeat that. But I want to mention why this argument came up, and therefore why did we then mention Adl separately? Because we have a problem. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is responsible for everything, then that means that I am just a robot and I cannot be held accountable for anything that I do. Right? There's a famous story that you all know. I'll just quickly indicate towards it. That a person came and he threw a lump of clay at another person. Now, don't mention their names. And he complained. He went to the court. He said, this person threw a lump of clay at me. So he said, what did he say? He said, what happened when I threw the lump of clay at you? What happened? He said, I'm in pain. He says, show me the pain. He said, you lost your mind. How can I show you the pain? Pain is not something that can be shown. So he said, but you said that if something exists, it has to be seen. And you just told me that you're in pain and it exists, but you can't see it. He says, and I hit you with this clay, and you also made from clay. And you said that how can Iblis be put in the fire when he's made of fire? How will the fire burn the fire? Then he said the third thing is that you said that Allah is responsible for everyone's deeds, for everyone's actions. So why are you complaining to me? Go and complain to God. Because according to you, God made me do it. Of course, court was dismissed. He had to go home. But this argument, where did it come from? And why was it developed? So this argument and the issue with this argument and why the problem of it not being consistent is that this argument is not an argument that was developed because it has some theological basis, something from Quran, Hadith, Seerah of the Holy Prophet. No. This argument is a political argument. This is a political aqidah. What does it mean? It means that due to, in the history of Islam, there are people who did wrong actions, who did wrong things, who created mischief and oppression and torture and bloodshed. And because this aqidah, this belief system, this theology wanted to defend those people, therefore they said that God makes us do everything. So if somebody turns up and says, but what about what happened to Zahra salamullah alayha? What about what happened to Imam Amirul Mu'mineen? How is it that the grandson of the Prophet Imam Hussein alayhi salam got killed at Karbala? How is it that after his killing, the women and children got taken as prisoners? This aqidah can say, but God made them do it. That there's no responsibility for anything that anybody does because God made you do it. But this is against the justice of God that He's created me, He's made me, and then He's forced me to do an action, and then on the day of judgment He's going to call me for reward and punishment. If that's the case, then on the day of judgment when there's reward and punishment, I can say that you made me do it. For what reason would there be punishment? This is against the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to punish me for something which I had no control over. Now we said that, why is it? We mentioned that Allah is a witness over His own tawheed. And angels are also a witness. So why is it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says angels are a witness? So we take you back to the story that you all know. And this story is the story of when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates Adam and he orders them to do sajda. Right? So he creates Adam. He says, when I blow my ruh, my spirit into him, then you all, فَقَوْلُهُ سَاجِدِينَ, all of you go into sajda. Then they all go into sajda, except for Iblis. So Allah asks him. Now here there's a big lesson. In every part of this story, there's a lesson. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first he asks him before condemning him. Right? Allah says, why didn't you do the sajda? What prevented you from doing the sajda? Now, this is very important. Why? Because Allah already knows the answer. Allah already knows the answer. Why didn't he do the sajda? Allah already knows. But he's teaching you and I that if somebody does something wrong, first you give them a chance to defend themselves. First you give them a chance to explain themselves before punishment. No, what do? We do give the judge, jury, executioner to everybody before giving a chance to people to explain themselves. Maybe there's a reason. Allah already knows, but he's still asking. I don't know. I don't know what situation that person is going through before I'm giving out judgments about people. No, so give that person a chance to defend themselves. So Allah says, why didn't you do what prevented you from doing sajda? So Iblis gives the answer. And this answer is unique because he's the first person to do this kind of deduction. This kind of qiyas. What does he say? He says, Ana khairum minhu. I am better than him. Now, in the afternoon or the majlis this morning, I mentioned to you that, for those of you present now, just repeating this particular point, that in ilm al-mantiq we have mantuq and mafhum. Mantuq is that which is the statement which is said, and mafhum is that which is understood from that statement. Example that I mentioned, apologies to those who were there in the morning, that if I say that it is daytime, then it means that the sun is out. I don't need to say that it's daytime and the sun is out. No, if it's daytime, then the mafhum that's understood from the sentence that it is daytime is that the sun is out. Or if I say the sun is out, then it's understood that it is the daytime. So in this reply from Iblis, he said, Ana khairum min. I am better than him. That means that Iblis knows and understands that sajda is to, or obedience is to that person who is better than you. Iblis understands, he knows, he believes this, that obedience is to that person who's better than you. And this principle is the principle of adl, of justice, that Allah will not make me follow somebody who is not better than me. Allah will not make me follow somebody who is not better. That person has to be better than me. So Iblis knows this. And he says, Ana khairum minhu. I am better than him. So the mafhum of this is that he knows that obedience has to be to the one who is better than you. Then what does he say? What does he give as evidence that he is better? He says, خلقتني خلقته من طين وخلقتني من نار. You created him from the clay and you created me from the fire. So implication, again, mafhum is that fire is better than clay. So he's done qiyas. Iblis did qiyas, that fire is better than clay. And this qiyas is wrong. Not only is qiyas, first of all, qiyas is haram. In matters of Suluddin and Furuddin, qiyas is haram. But secondly, this qiyas is wrong because fire is not better than clay. And I'll give you the evidence. What's the evidence? The evidence is that there are two types of things or substance that we have in the universe. There is constructive substances and destructive. And constructive substances are better than destructive substances. And clay is constructive and fire is destructive. Therefore, not only Iblis did qiyas, but he did qiyas which is wrong, is batil. Fire is not better than clay, is better than fire, because clay is constructive. Through clay we create, make things, and it constructively benefits human beings. Whereas fire is destructive. If there's a fire, you try and put out the fire in order to save that which has been constructed. But what else is the mafhum from this sentence, and how is this related to our topic? And that is that, yes, Iblis acknowledged that you have to follow the one who's better than you. Allah is going to make you follow the one who is better than you, who is khair. But by making this objection, what does he tell us? What's the mafhum that he's telling us? Why? Because he believes in God. Iblis is not kafir. He doesn't reject God. He believes in God. Not only does he believe in God, but he says to God, he's having a conversation with God. He says to God that فَبِعِزَّتِكَ, I swear by your honor, that izzat which is referred to in this ayat. I swear by your honor that I'm going to misguide all of Bani Adam. Not only he believes in God, but he believes in his honor as well. And he swears by the honor of God and says, I'm going to misguide Bani Adam. I'm going to take revenge of Adam from all of his descendants. So he believes in God, and he believes in the attributes of God as well. And he believes the day of judgment, because he says, give me life until the day of judgment. So he believes in the day of judgment as well. If he doesn't believe, he wouldn't say, why would he say, give me life until the day of judgment? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replies to him, says that we have not given you life to the day of judgment. We've given you life until waqt al-ma'loom, until a fixed time, a known time. So he believes in God, and he believes in the day of judgment as well. And of course he believes in Adam, because Adam is there in front of him. He's refused to do sajda to Adam. But of course he believes in Adam. Adam is there in front of him. So he believes in Allah, and he believes in the Prophet, and he believes in the day of judgment. But by saying this, that I am better than him, and I'm not going to do sajda to him, he's telling us, he's implying in this statement that he doesn't believe Allah is just. He doesn't believe Allah is just, that he's made somebody the representative of God on him, somebody whom he has to obey, who is not better than him. So he believes that God is not just. For this reason, one more reason. For this reason, we emphasize the belief in Adl, that you can believe in God, all his attributes. But if you don't believe in his justice, you'll go astray. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, get out. You are removed from the mercy of God, and you become accursed until the end of time. Why? For rejecting the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's accused Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of being unjust. Now, why is it impossible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be unjust? Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. What are the reasons for why a person commits injustice? Ayatollah Zafar Subhani Hafidahullah Ta'ala alayh, in his book Ilahiyat, says there's 4 reasons why a person would commit injustice in their life. All of the reasons would be under one of these 4. He says, number 1 is a person is ignorant. They don't know that this thing is injustice. If I don't know something is a sin, something is wrong, then I would have no problem in doing it. Most of the time, due to my ignorance, I go against the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or he says, second reason is that a person gets compelled by another person to do something. They're forced by another person to do something. Or the third reason is that a person follows their desires. They know it's wrong and nobody's forcing them, but their nafs, their desire, their soul wants them, nafs-e-ammara wants to do something which is disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or the fourth reason is that person themselves are a tyrant. They become embodiment of oppression and therefore they start committing oppression and justifying it to themselves. So Adul Subhani Hafidullah Ta'ala says that these four reasons are why a person would commit something which is unjust. And none of these four reasons can apply to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because we already mentioned that He is alim. There's nothing that He doesn't know. Everything is in His knowledge. So therefore the question of ignorance is removed. Then we said He's qadir, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. He has power over everything. So therefore the question of being compelled by somebody else is also removed. Then the matter of desire doesn't apply to him because he has no desires. Desire is in human beings and in animals, but not even in the angels. So let alone Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has no desire. And He's not a tyrant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Allah is not unjust towards His servants. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not unjust towards His servants. So none of these reasons can apply to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's no reason for Him to do anything which is unjust. Everything that He does is just. Now, we said, and we mentioned this in the afternoon, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in that ayat, Inna Allah ya'muru bil adl. Allah commands people to do justice. And that means that He do not command people to do anything that He Himself does not do. First, He Himself would do something. First, He Himself would follow the principle. Then He would command other people to do it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands justice. He commands adl. And in order to manifest this adl, in order to make sure this justice is enacted in society, He sent His representatives to show us how is that justice enacted in society. Because otherwise it's an abstract concept that how do I know or how do I understand what is the meaning of this justice if there's no example of that in my life? So you heard just now before me that according to one narration, tomorrow is the Shahadat of Imam Hassan Mushtaba alayhi salam. So I'm mentioning to you a story from Imam alayhi salam regarding justice. During the Khilafat of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, there is a person who gets killed. This person gets killed, and it happens outside another person's house. This person hears a commotion that something's happening outside my house. So he comes out. When he comes out of his house, he has a knife in his hand, and there's blood on the knife. Please listen carefully. This person who killed the other person has fled the scene. Mob is chasing after him. When they come there and they see that there's a dead person, and there's a person standing in front of him who has a knife in his hand, and there's blood dripping from the knife. circumstantial evidence is against this person. There's a dead person in front of you, and you're standing there with a knife, and there's blood dripping from the knife. Everybody's going to think this person's the one who killed him. This mob gathers and says, "You killed him." Now, this person thinks that if I say that I didn't kill him, nobody's going to believe me. Nobody's going to believe me that I didn't kill him because all the circumstantial evidence is against me. So he says, "Yes, I did." So they bring him to Imam Amirul Mu'mineen. Now, this is how we find out who are the true representatives of God. Just like Allah said to Iblis, "Why didn't you do the sajda?" Imam Amirul Mu'mineen asks him what happened. Before giving the judgment, he asks him, "What happened? Tell me. What's your side of the story?" So he says, "Ya Ali, I was in my house and I was slaughtering the animal." Right? Now we have to go back to that time, because it's difficult for you guys to relate now, because we go and buy the meat from the butchers. In those days, people had to slaughter the animals themselves, right? Most of us, if we had to slaughter the animals, we'd stop eating meat. Maybe it's a good thing. Recite salawat ala Muhammad. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So he says, "I was slaughtering the animal in my house and I had the commotion. So I came outside. When I came outside, the knife was in my hand and blood was dripping from the knife because I had just slaughtered the animal. And I realized that if I deny the fact that I killed this person, then it's going to go against me. Everyone's going to think I'm lying. So I came to you because I know that you're going to give me justice. I came to you because I know that you're going to give me justice." Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam says, that the solution to this case, reply to this case, is going to be done by my son Hassan Mujtaba alayhi salam. Now listen carefully. Imam alayhi salam says, Imam Hassan Mujtaba alayhi salam says, whilst this conversation is going on, the actual murderer shows up. The one who actually killed the person, he shows up. And he says, "Ya Ali, I killed the person. I killed that person." So Imam Hassan alayhi salam says, he gives the judgment. He says, "I have freed both of you." Imam Hassan Mujtaba alayhi salam says, "I have freed both of you. And the blood money for that person will be paid from Baytul Mal." So all the people come to Imam Amirul Mu'mineen and they say, "What kind of judgment is this?" Everyone comes to Imam Amirul Mu'mineen and they say, "What kind of judgment is this?" Imam replies, "Why are you asking me? Ask the one who gave the judgment." Mu'mineen are like this as well. Last week Maulana came, he said this. Then they'll come to me and say, "Last week Maulana came, he said this. Why are you asking me? Ask the one who said it." Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Times change, but people same. Same questions, same answers. Imam says, "Ask the one who gave the judgment." So they come to Imam Hassan Mujtaba alayhi salam. They say, "How come you freed both of them?" So now, the reply of the Imam will tell us the proof of the hadith of the Prophet. What did the Prophet say? He said, "Inni tarikun fikum al-thaqalain, kitab Allah wa itrati ahl bayti, lan yaftariqa hatta yarid alayhi al-hawd." I left out the in the beginning, in the between. The Prophet said, "I leave behind the book of Allah and my family, Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. They will never separate." If somebody thinks, sometimes people say, "Oh, they took the Quran, we took Ahlul Bayt." No. They will never separate. You can't take one without the other. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, has given you two hands because there's two things the Prophet left behind. Both of them you have to hold on to. Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam says, I am the one for whom Rasulullah says, لَن يَفْتَرِقَ. So he says, I'm giving a reply from the Holy Quran about this case. Why did I free both of them? He said, I freed the first person. Why? Because he was innocent. The first person was innocent. He circumstantially got involved in a situation where people thought he was the one who killed that person. So he was innocent. Then I asked the second person, why did you come back? When you had run away, why did you come back? So the second person said that when I killed that person and I ran away. But when I heard that an innocent person was going to get punished for that crime that I committed, I could not bear for the innocent person to get punished for something that I did. So I came back and admitted that I committed the murder. So Imam alayhi salam says, I freed the second person because he saved the life of the first person. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran says, whosoever saves one life, kahyan nas jami'a, as though he saved all of humanity. He says regarding Bani Israel that whoever saves one life, as though he saved all of humanity. And therefore I ask punish the blood money to that person who got killed to be paid from Baitul. Recite salawat. This is justice in action. That he showed that how is justice enacted in society, how is it applied, and how it's justified through Holy Quran. Everybody knows this ayat, but application of this ayat is only capable, the only person who is capable of doing it is the one who is warith of Holy Quran. The one whom Rasulullah says, لَن يَفْتَرِقَ حَتَّى يَرِدَ. They would never separate. That means they would never separate until they reach the pool of Kawthar. But of course, for this reason, time is up. For this reason, Imam alayhi salatu wasalam goes through difficulties, calamities in his life. Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam, after Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, even though he's the only person, imagine, in the history of Islam, he's the only person to be unanimously accepted as Khalifa. Unanimously. Every single person who's a Muslim at that time pledges allegiance to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam. For 6 months, he's the Khalifa, and if you go and read the books on Khilafat, you'll find that the fifth rightly guided Khalifa is Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam. You and I, we believe in him as the Imam. But I'm talking about the people who believe in Khalifas. Say the fifth rightly guided Khalifa is Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam, who is unanimously accepted by all the Muslims of his time. But only for 6 months. Only for 6 months. After 6 months, people from his own side commit treachery against him. And therefore, he says that in the interests of Islam and the Muslims, I've relinquished my rights. And this is the principle of the religion of Islam. This is justice. That you have to put the interests of Islam and Muslims before your own interests. And every single Imam of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, this is what they did. They put the interests of Islam and Muslims before the interests of their own selves. Right? So Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam says, otherwise, when the enemy says something to you, of course, it's hurtful. But if somebody who claims to be a friend says something hurtful, it hurts more. The people who are on the side of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam say to him, you disgrace the believers. Why? Because when you become, there's a saying, right? That if you become used to oppression, when you become used to oppression, then equality feels like oppression. When you become used to privilege, equality feels like oppression. Why? Because in the time of after the Holy Prophet of Islam, there's undue privilege given to people, more than they deserve. So now when you come to equality, it feels like oppression. You feel like you're being oppressed because that privilege is taken away from you. And this is the message for today. That some people in society will have more privilege than other people. And that privilege is not due to something I did, but it's due to something that society has already acknowledged. For example, in our societies, men have privilege. Now, I didn't do anything to be a man. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created me in this way. So, but I've got this privilege. Now, the best way to use this privilege is what? Is that I use this privilege to help those people who are unprivileged or underprivileged in society. Right? I've got this privilege that I didn't do anything to get. But society has given me this privilege that if a man says it, people would listen to it. Or if a man stands up to protect a woman who's being harassed, then people would back off. So it's my responsibility to use privilege in such a way that the person who's underprivileged, who has not got that privilege, gets protected from the person who's abusing the privilege. This is what A'immah of Ahlul Bayt did. That they use their privilege in society in order to help those people who are not privileged, even if that came at the cost of their own life. Even if that came at the cost of their own life. So, after the peace treaty is administered, all the conditions are violated. Final condition which is left is that every condition has been violated except for one. Final one which is left is that Amir Sham will not appoint somebody after him as the Khalifa. And then when he appoints Yazid as the Khalifa, that one is also violated. When that's violated, then what happens? So he administers the poison to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam. He administers the poison to. The narration mentioned the reason why there's different dates of Shahadat. One of the reasons is that narrations mention that Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam is given poison on more than one occasion. Throughout this month of Zafar, he's given poison on more than one occasion. So it's possible that he was given poison on this date and then he was made shaheed on a later date. For this reason, we have different narrations of Shahadat. But definitely, we know that he was administered the poison on more than one occasion. When he was given the poison, which eventually is going to kill him, it's mentioned that this poison was so strong that when it was added to his drinking water, when he had that water, his liver cracked into pieces. You know that liver is one of the strongest parts in the body. If there's something that cracks the liver, that means that thing is very strong. That poison is very strong. Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam, his liver cracks into pieces. And he calls Imam Hussein alayhi salam. When he calls Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Imam Hussein alayhi salam comes to him. He brings him the tray in which his liver, the pieces of his liver start coming out. He starts vomiting them out onto the tree. And seeing this state, imagine that a brother sees a brother in this state. Seeing this state, Imam Hussein alayhi salam cries a lot. Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam makes his final will. And he says, "Oh my brother Hussein, after I die, bury me next to my grandfather Rasulullah." This is the way, this is the etiquette of all human beings, that even if somebody is on death row and they're being killed by capital punishment, their final requests are respected. But he says, and he knows that there's going to be issues, but he makes the hujjat that I want to be buried next to my grandfather Rasulullah. I deserve to be buried next to my grandfather Rasulullah. But he says, Hussein, if after my death there's a chance of bloodshed, I don't want there to be bloodshed at my funeral. I don't want there to be fighting at my funeral. So if there is fighting, if there's a chance that there's going to be bloodshed, then take me to Baqi and bury me in Baqi. Imam Hussein alayhi salam cries a lot. Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam says, oh my brother Hussein, don't cry. Have patience. He says, how can a brother not cry when a brother, he sees in this state? Imam Hassan alayhi salam replies the famous reply. He says, La yawm li yawmik ya Aba Abdullah. Hussein, you shouldn't cry. You have to establish patience. Why? Because there's no day like your day. Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam, he's going through pain. Imagine that his liver is cracked into pieces and he's saying, Hussein, there's no day like your day. There's no day like the day of Ashura. Even after me going through all these calamities, there's no day like the day of Ashura. Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam leaves this world. Imam Hussein alayhi salam does the final rites, and then he carries the body towards the grave of Rasulullah. When he takes the body towards the grave of Rasulullah, there some people from Banu Umayyah have gathered, and they are crying out that we would not let Hassan ibn Ali be buried here. They are shouting and screaming at the grave of Rasulullah. Imam Hussein alayhi salam recites the verse of Holy Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tarfa'u aswatakum fawqa sawtin nabi. O you who believe, keep your voices low in the presence of Rasulullah. Just because he's in the grave, don't think that he's dead. Shouting and screaming at the grave of Rasulullah is not acceptable. At that moment in time, all the youth of Bani Hashim are with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Muslim ibn Aqil is there. Abu al-Fadl Abbas is there. Muhammad Hanafiya is there. Abdullah ibn Ja'far is there. Imam Zainul Abidin is there. All of them are ready. Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, no, my brother said no fighting at the funeral. No battles, no bloodshed at the funeral. If they don't want, if they're going to prevent the burial here, we'll take Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam to Baqi. If that had been the end of the scenario, we would have exercised patience and said that yes, Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam said that bury me in Baqi if people prevent me from being buried next to my grandfather Rasulullah. But when they turned the funeral and were taking it back to the house, Banu Umayyah were ready with the arrows and they started firing arrows at the funeral. Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam is the only Imam to have got fired arrows into his funeral after he's died. It's mentioned that up to 70 arrows were fired at the funeral of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam. That his kafan, which was white, turned red from the blood. And the funeral is brought back into the house. The body is brought back into the house. There is never an occasion where a funeral goes out of the house and then it comes back into the house. It comes back into the house. Zainab and Kulthum remove the arrows from the body of their brother, and then the kafan is given again. And Imam Hassan alayhi salam is buried into Jannatul Baqi, in that place where he's buried today. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam weeps over him, says a lengthy marthiyah about Imam Hassan alayhi salam. And he weeps and he stays on his grave for a long time. But I only want to say one thing to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam, that yes, when you got killed, you had arrows in your body. When you got killed, your kafan had to be changed. But you got a kafan. And you got buried. And after you got buried, people in your house were allowed to cry over you. Ajrukum ilallah. People in your house were not prevented from crying. But after the day of Ashura, Hussein alayhi salam lay on the burning sands of Karbala. His body trampled by the hooves of the horses, no kafan, no burial. And when the women wanted to weep over him, Shimr would come with the whip and whip them. Not just the women, but even the children. When Sakina wants to cry over her father Hussein, the oppressor comes and he steals her earrings. No, he pulls off her earrings so that her ears start bleeding. That bleeding doesn't stop all the way until Damascus. There's congealed blood on her ears from where the earrings were pulled off. All through the journey from Kufa to Damascus. All through the journey from Kufa to Damascus, every time the head of Hussein alayhi salam stops, there's whips and beating for Zainab alayhi salam, for Sayyid Sajjad. Somebody asks our fifth holy Imam when he returns back to Medina, somebody asks him, says, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, can you tell us who is the most oppressed person in the story of Karbala? Who is the one who was the most oppressed person in the story of Karbala? Imam alayhi salam begins to weep and he said, what a question you asked me. He says, by far and without a shadow of doubt, my aunt Zainab is the most oppressed person in the story of Karbala. The person says, but why? Imam alayhi salam says, every time somebody would come with the whip towards any one of us, Zainab salamullah alayha would come in between us and them. So the whip would go. ألا ولعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the acceptance of our majlis, for the sake of the tears that we shed and the fash that we're sitting on, to forgive our sins and elevate the status of our marhumin, to make us amongst the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, give us ziyarat in our lifetimes and their shafa'at in the next life, to protect all the believers all around the world, wherever they are, in particular where they're going through oppression, their lives, their honor, their dignity, their wealth, their families, to fulfill the hajat of all those who have come with legitimate desires, and to cure all those who are sick for the sake of Sayyid Sajjad, and to hasten the reappearance of our awaited Imam, and to make us amongst those who serve him. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم بحق محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ماتم حسين.
कूचाओ बाजार या अली, आले रसूल कूचाओ बाजार या अली, ज़हरा की बेटी शाम का दरबार या अली, ज़हरा की बेटी शाम का दरबार या अली। अब्बास जब तलक थे था ज़ैनब को इत्मीनान, अब्बास जब तलक थे था ज़ैनब को इत्मीनान, खालिक के बाद भाई का था एक निगहबान, खालिक के बाद भाई का था एक निगहबान, बेआस हो गई जो गिरा फौज का निशान, बेआस हो गई जो गिरा फौज का निशान। अब क्या हो मर गए जो अलमदार या अली, अब क्या हो मर गए जो अलमदार या अली, आले रसूल कूचाओ बाजार या अली, ज़हरा की बेटी शाम का दरबार या अली। भैया जो मर गया है तो
بہنا اداس ہے، بھیا جو مر گیا ہے تو بہنا اداس ہے، جیون نراش ہو گیا من بدحواس ہے، جیون نراش ہو گیا من بدحواس ہے، آشائیں مٹ چکی نہیں جینے کی آس ہے، آشائیں مٹ چکی نہیں جینے کی آس ہے، بھائی کی موت درد دل آزار یا علی، بھائی کی موت درد دل آزار یا علی، آل رسول کوچاؤ بازار، زہرا کی بیٹی شام کا دربار یا علی، اونٹوں کی ننگی پیٹوں پر اہل حرم سوار، اونٹوں کی ننگی پیٹوں پر اہل حرم سوار، بالغ زمیں پر گرتے ہیں رو رو کے بار بار، بالغ زمیں پر گرتے ہیں رو رو کے بار بار، ماؤں کے دل کو پھر بھی ہے صبر و سکون قرار، ماؤں کے دل کو پھر بھی ہے صبر و سکون قرار، زینب ہے چونکہ قافلہ سالار یا علی، زینب ہے چونکہ قافلہ سالار یا علی، آل رسول کوچاؤ بازار یا علی، زہرا کی بیٹی شام کا دربار، جم گھٹ تماشا بینوں کا زینب ہے ننگے سر، جم گھٹ تماشا بینوں کا زینب ہے ننگے سر، دیکھا گیا نہ کانپے ہیں سر نو کے نیزہ پر، دیکھا گیا نہ کانپے ہیں سر نو کے نیزہ پر، پلٹانے اپنی سمت ستمگروں کی نظر، پلٹانے اپنی سمت ستمگروں کی نظر، قرآن پڑھے ہیں سید ابرار یا علی، قرآن پڑھے ہیں سید ابرار یا علی، آل رسول کوچاؤ بازار یا علی، زہرا کی بیٹی شام کا دربار یا علی، مشکل کشا کی بیٹی کا بازو رسن میں ہے، مشکل کشا کی بیٹی کا بازو رسن میں ہے، ایک تھر تھری سی بالی سکینہ کے تن میں ہے، ایک تھر تھری سی بالی سکینہ کے تن میں ہے، نیزے پر سر حسین کا رنجو محن میں ہے، نیزے پر سر حسین کا رنجو محن میں ہے، کھینچے میں ہار عابد بیمار یا علی، کھینچے میں ہار عابد بیمار یا علی، آل رسول کوچاؤ بازار یا علی، زہرا کی بیٹی شام کا دربار یا علی، یا حسین،
اے جری دلیر با وفا، بازوئے شہید کربلا، جان